something very different. So I have some materials here, but here I have a door trim, and in fact I'm not sure it's two parts of the same door or two parts of a different door. It's the other way up. Yeah, I've got a feeling, unless that's also the other way up of course, in which case it could be correct. Alright, near enough. There's just a possibility it could be from the other side, but whatever. So this is the original Gilman trim, and this material, I don't know what you call that, dimple stuff, I'm sure was reasonably nice. Actually, as you might have learnt, I quite like this leather cloth material, but it's obviously in a very poor state. This part was stapled, screwed onto the upper part of the door, that's the hole for the handle, and this part was screwed, I think mainly screwed at various points around the edge of the door. So I've got a feeling, yes, it's two different doors, because that's where the door handle was, up here I think, and oh, what's that? Anyway, doesn't really make a lot of difference. Yeah, so screwed it in a number of locations, and it's vinyl leather cloth embossed, as you see, with squishy foam sheet in between, and then hardboard. Yeah, and this is 50-year-old hardboard, and yeah, it's in a dreadful state, as you can see here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remake all this, and I'm going to remake it slightly differently. Slightly different in as much as this part will be actually sewn to this part, rather than just separately sort of screwed on top of that. And well, anyway, that's what I'm going to do. Now I've got this leather cloth here, which as you can see is blue, which you might argue isn't the best choice, but then again the car itself is blue, so, and the fact I've got it. So I think what's going to happen is that the bottom part, this part if you like, is going to be blue, and the top part is going to be that dark grey stuff that I did the dashboard top with. So that's what I'm going to do. But this job comes in several stages, and the first one of those is to create some kind of pattern. So this, I mean, is embossed, sort of okay, but I think I can do better actually. So what I'm going to do first is something which I have actually done before, which is a diamond stitch pattern. And I did it on the Dutton actually. So I'm going to do it again. So I get rid of all these bits and pieces. And here is my scrim foam. So I'm going to do a diamond stitch pattern on this leather cloth, and the bottom part of the door will be the diamond stitch part, and this part will be plain. So I need a diamond stitch part roughly the same size as that, and luckily this piece of cloth I've got here looks to be exactly the right size, as long as I don't screw it up too badly. I need to do two, so it needs to be cut in half lengthways, and then diamond stitching needs to happen. So this is my piece of blue leather cloth, which I've cut in half, so I've got enough to do the other side. And I am going to initially sew some scrim foam onto it. Now scrim foam is basically thin, I think it's 6mm foam, and on one side, as you can see, it's got this kind of fabric-y layer, so that helps to prevent the stitching from kind of pulling through the foam, which it may do as it gets older. So I'll just start like that. Okay, so the fabric inside should go on the top because that's where the stitches are pulling from. I'm going to get rid of this edgy bit as well. So now what I need to do is glue the scrim foam onto the fabric. So I think the best way to do that is to turn it the other way up initially. And I will spray some adhesive onto the scrim foam. Okay, I've got a feeling that's nearly empty, so whatever. Let's see if I can lay it onto the scrim foam. So that's kind of stage 0.1. Alright then, so having attached the fabric layer to the scrim foam layer, now we can go about designing the diamond stitch pattern. So by diamond I'll need a repeating pattern that's kind of like that, and that's basically achieved by lots of stitches going diagonally across and then more stitches going diagonally across. Now when I did this before, I actually used this actual ruler to define the width. So I guess I might as well do that again. The only question is it going to be a pattern like that or a pattern like that? Come back and decide that in a moment. Right, I think it's going to be kind of that angle. Okay, so hopefully you get the idea about the diamond stitching. So the only question, or only question, the next question is about the actual sewing. So I shall get my machine set up. So I've decided that rather than sewing from this side, I need to sew from this side because otherwise the stitches will be kind of upside down. So I'm going to mark on here with a biro, which shouldn't show up too much behind the stitching, and I think you can get it off actually with white spirit as well. And in order to make the pattern symmetrical, I'm matching the top edges of the line and the bottom edges of the line. So not that it's precisely necessary to get it lined up, but might as well try a little bit. Of course you don't have to blindly follow the lines that you've made. It's strange, like, well, you can't make it out, can you? What a really strange, wonky line there I managed to achieve. Okay, so we've got 4 lines there, 4 lines there, well, 4.5 lines. So anyway, I'm going to do some stitching now. And we'll see how it goes. It is tending to crinkle up a little bit, but it's going to get sewn down later, so that shouldn't happen anymore. And it looks like I've got a bit of a wiggle stitch. Right, that was a setting on here. Nothing else to look jogged at some points. And Possibly the stitch length could do going up a little bit. That's not too bad. Run out. Oh dear. So that means I've got to reload a bobbin from my big reel here. While the battery in the camera was charging, I've finished all the diagonal stitching this way. So now it's time to start doing it the other way, and we will start to see the diamond pattern emerge, hopefully. So let's start at this end. Might as well start at the very end. I wasn't going to, but might as well. So the pattern's coming together, as you can see, and here's as much of a close-up as I can get on this setup of me doing that. And there we have it. With Jessica's assistance, we have diamond stitched vinyl. And just to recap, so we have a scrim foam on the back, which has this fabricy layer, which stops the stitches pulling through the foam over a period of time. And basically cut many rows of stitching in diagonal lines, and that is still quite stretchy, so it should make quite a good cover for this, which is PVC foam board, and this will replace this nasty hardboard thing. And rather than being stapled on, which is what this is, or this was, it will actually be glued. Now it turns out that the other leather cloth I've got is also blue. I thought it was grey, but does that mean it's no good? Or should I just do the whole thing in grey? Not the whole thing, do the thing in a combination of different blues. Yeah, so it's not quite the same. This is kind of small, more marbly, more grainy than this stuff is. But yeah, the thing is, I've got it though, isn't it? That is the thing. Right, I haven't got any more spray glue, but what I do have is a massive tin of contact adhesive, so I'm going to use that instead. It's probably a bit overkill, but oh well. I'm going to stick this to that. Okay, the idea of spilling glue in here was just too horrible to contemplate. Let's hope these wrinkles here can be stretched out. Okay, so I mean that's not too bad actually. I quite like that. So, my objective then is to sew this to that with a nice join. Okay, so I've pinned the pieces together, and this is the board which is going to be used to cover the lower half of the door, so it only needs, the top piece here you see isn't involved in that, so it goes like that, and that looks like it's fine size wise, so that's good. And what I'm going to do, I have pinned it, but I did notice that it was quite useful to have a line. So I'm going to mark this marker here. Help me keep on the straight and narrow. Okay. Now, unlike the other side, this stitch is not visible at all, so I'm just going to run down it, and then we can get to the next stage. So, I think there's plenty of thread in there, so I'm going to just go down the line. Let's hope the needle is strong enough to do the business. Let's take that first pin out. then. So we have a seam which hangs together, and so I now need to sew another 2 seams down there, one each side of the main seam. Now I've squished out the kind of flange, and it also would be somewhat logical to sew it from the other side, but that would mean that this flat part of the stitch, I think, would actually be the wrong side. I've had another go after unpicking the first attempt, and it's a lot better, but it's still a bit wiggly. So I've drawn a line down it with the biro, and I'll do the other one next to it, and we'll see what it looks like. So I need to go and do the same thing again, just slightly further over. Well, I've done something. But is it any good? Oh, thinking scissor have disappeared now. Okay. Well, so French stitching with scrim foam. No, I'm not sure I'm going to get it any better than that. So let's trim off the back. What I'm hoping is that when it's stretched out, it won't really notice. Or I can have another go at some point. So this is the top of the card section, and then this bit gets wrapped around the top of the door. So eventually it looks rather like that. So this is what has become of my quilted combined with non-quilted vinyl covering with the scrim foam on the back, and I've got that now for both sides of the car. A bit dark over there, but yeah, it looks pretty good. It's not quite complete yet, and I'm slightly undecided about to what extent to put stiffener on the back. So it's hanging there, not quite done, but obviously other things such as loudspeakers and door handles, which is in there somewhere, need to be sorted as well. So yeah, kind of nearly complete.